do a Maurice poem. It's called Getting There, and I think it's about being an artist. I'm not sure. You have to be, it's getting there. You have to be in a good mood or a very bad mood. Get run over by a truck. That helps. In the continuity of life, nothing much happens, but it all adds up. You can't do sums, only got fingers and thumbs. Glass was invented, but not to look through. Pretend it isn't there. Cuts the unwary. Blood is the most unnatural liquid. Not supposed to be outside. Poetry's supposed to be nice, but you're not. Sometimes, lying in bed, thumping in your ears, orchestra of waves, hot and twisted. Flocks of pigeons leave your shoulders. Cock crows before dawn. A forest of servants arrives at first light, wearing white, lays you down again. Honeycomb bees, you go into orange, like the aqua we all come from. In between the blackness, black and white photos, more realistic, but your life is not a doco. In the vocabulary of your eyes, you pose crimson. This is how it is. This is how it will be.
Did Julia Gillard ever get round to declaring an election? Are we going to have an election? What is this? Anybody? Good to know that somebody watches the news and I don't. This is an election speech on behalf of a very, very important demographic. Good afternoon. I represent the poodles of Australia. And with regret, I must report the systematic failure of parliamentary poodleists to make a public stand against the anti-poodleism that runs throughout this land. In many homes and many towns throughout this once great nation, my fellow poodles are in chains awaiting liberation from anti-poodle practices that keep in subjugation my once proud poodle pedigree. Oh, the humiliation. There is, above all else, one thing of which we must be freed, a new and deadly force which does oppress our noble breed. Barbaric barbers everywhere who feed our owners' passion for that most horrible of things. God help us. Poodle fashion. The barber cuts and snips and chops and curls and dyes and crops and clads us in a tartan vest and turns us out like fops. Our owners, pleased and proud, parade us up and down the street and sit to chat in coffee shops and feed us meat-free meat. Enough, I say. It's time the world knows of our poodle plight. It's time to raise our paws and claws. It's time to stand and fight. And with our legal beagle friends and with Chihuahua power, we will regain our liberty. Poodles, this is our hour. Woof, woof, woof.
This is a short one. I wrote this on waiting on a crowded bus in a traffic jam on a wet winter's day. His face presses the window. Waiting for his stop, he fingers the halo of mist around his mouth, almost drawing pictures. An eye, a nose, perhaps, but a smile would be too revealing. A smile might whisper to the crowd pressing in where he's from, where he's going. He wants to be somewhere he can see inside his own interior instead of looking out through a cold and misty eye into congested city veins as they hemorrhage, bleeding down footpaths, spirals around drains. Our nature is to flow, and although he judges harshly, his judgments are subject to the same laws and will in due course also change. The city does not belong to him nor he to it. Neither king nor servant, he's just there in its midst, waiting for a wheel to turn, ignoring the windows weeping tears on their way to far-off crops, waiting for the drawing of pictures to reveal he doesn't know what, but anything at all could mean something, waiting for a crowd of mouths to tell him what he may not want to hear. Fingers in the air, feeling for change while he's waiting for his stop. Thank you.
Stream. For Franz Schubert, the Austrian composer, 1797 to 1828. He wrote some of his finest music in the last 5 years of his life when he was dying, most probably from syphilis. There was no known cure. The schoolboy hats with Prussian wings bob down the hallway like a stream to the front door. Outside, the boys shout and fling their hats into the air, cheering at their escape. The joy of it surging back to the principal's door. My father, a block of disapproval. The sound falls shut. I am a teacher between classes in the dark hall of my father's school. The boys rush out of classrooms, banging and elbowing their satchels against the wall, falling quiet at my father's abrupt commands. I lower my head, covering sheets of music with the melee of sounds in the hall. My father waits like a statue in the corner, points to my classroom door, too angry to speak. I have no order in the classroom. The boys erupt as I enter. Their laughter and silliness spill out of the windows. I pluck notes like ribbons from their wake. Puddles leak across the floor of this treatment room, swell in the flare of the fire. The pipes hiss and drip. A bath of sulphur to settle the sharp knife of headaches. Copper gnaws at my skin. Still, I remember all that drips warm, even these poisonous berries from you, my old friend, who have dumped me in this madhouse for diseases that ebb and flow. Write, you said, showing me poetry I hadn't learned in school. I shut the door on my father, travelled from room to room, the music sheets piled up on my bed. I would lie in and write, no money coming in, except from friends and the very rich with daughters, their long necks swaying above the piano. I harvested songs in my hands, a backwash of sheets, scattered or lost. I heaped others into the back of the wardrobe till the red bruises climbed above my high collar, and you, my old friend, recoiled from me. Those days still nestle in my hands. My old teacher dragging his long face up the stairs, past the stains of my body to the pile of sheets. He stares and weeps. I sweep them into his hands. Take them, I say. Here I live for the notes still warm on my skin. I will only lose the sheets, as I have lost all my other loves. My father unbends to press his tentative ear to the stream, shouts that you, my old friend, have led me to the door of this death. I hear only my father's fear of where the stream will take him. Thank you.
This is called Politics. The shining sun is shunning us again. On the edge of a cliff, a fence. The joy of sucking on wool, singing like a minor key poet. This man who listens too much with his neck, he prefers some marrow with his flesh. One brain walking along a path in the direction of reversibility. A child with eyes like marbles and an elephant on a grey beach. When she ascends to her throne, bury her with a singing piece of paper. As silent as a fish, I control the falling stairs. Cheers. It's an old one. It's called You and I. You fed my heart with streams of heat. You showed me slow dripping tropical time. You wrote me your letters on paper like linen. You turned yourself towards the sun again. You placed your hand on my forehead so I could sink into a womb. You hid the daylight in the morning for me. You listened to my groaning without wincing. You offered me the mystery of a naked face. You kissed me like a thirsty peasant. You let me keep sleeping when you went off to work. You bathed your neck in the sweetest scents for me. You bid me fuck you like the devil. You gave me an ocean to play in. I made you cry in doorways. I fell asleep in the field of your hair. I tenderly kissed the throb of your arches. I tried not to flirt with anyone else. I turned up at the door with decent wine. I talked when I didn't want to. I punched the wall and went for a walk. I drank the balm of your salty honey. I waited without looking at my watch too often. I ate from your hands. I held your sobbing body until you slept. I felt with my fingers in the darkest place of light. I knew you once.
Okay.
2 short writings based on the theme of love. One night. My head is numb. Shadows haunt. People oblivious. Cruise on by. Laughing, playing, holding hands. Inside, I weep. While sitting, sweating, staring too at neon lights, mini-skirted night delights. No twitches felt, no dreams to dream. She won't leave me be. Thank you. Something I wrote back in 1989, and I've got to read it different now because of this. It's called Fucked. Fuck you, woman. You fuck me still. My thought is, fuck it, still of you. You fuck my cock and you fuck my brain, fucking time and time again. I fucked you back. Orgasms proved that. A fucking good time you fucking had. Fuck it. All good things must fucking end. Why the fuck couldn't we blend? So fuck it. My head is fucked. Fucking thinking of forgetting you. Thank you.
I'd like to dedicate my reading today to Shelton Lee and Bon Scott. Now, why would I be doing that? No fucking idea. No, they're both sort of similar in some way, I was thinking this morning. Sort of that vagabond, hurt vagabond, very intelligent thing about them both. I'll just start with an ordinary poem called Week to Week. You sort of need a poem you're kind of a little bit fresh with, if you know what I mean. Yep. Just a daggy, ordinary, kind of take it out of the back room poem. Give it to us, Maurice. Week to Week. Giselle leaves me notes. Dad, you weren't here, so I've gone up to... Dad, you weren't here, so I've gone up to Brunswick with Rachel. Back at 7, approx. Put food for tonight in the fridge. Listen to Philip Adams. Play solitaire or jazz ball. Project for the moment. Read only books written before 1960, when classics were taught. As a serial library books non-returner, I'm sorry, I am really. This fits in nicely with what op shops offer. It's hard to make a mistake. 5 books equals about 2 gourmet pies. So what if my cupboard's filling up with crystal glasses for a party I'm never going to hold, and I now own 20 dictionaries? Cook tea, fight with Giselle momentarily. It's always like that when she comes back to me. Then we slip into routine, which means leave each other alone, but with warm regards. We're pretty cool on a tram, and we're both aware of it. She is beauty and I'm experience. My face is like a 1980s Melways. We're not snotty about it. We don't boast or make a show. Mostly it's a shared sense of humour. She's chatting on the phone. I play songs over and over on the computer. The TV is running, but nobody's watching. Tomorrow she's going to cost me money. I can feel it in my bones. Neighbour's dog has stopped barking, finally. Light another horizon, $7 a day.
Sanctuary. Under the silkworm leaves, a dappled light played on porcelain skin, the child inspired. Shallow breeze, the branch quivered like a feather, the breathing deepened as the plucked berries brushed lips, and the tongue responded to the deep flavours of rich juice. Her fingers became purple stained, as did the tongue. She sought solace from higher sunwards, closer to the light, from a big sky, Wimmera blue. The earth, yellow and sandy loam, easily ploughed, rested beneath. She did not fancy figs like her father, nor was fond of quince, only good for paste or jam. Mulberry was her solace under summer sun when the weather was too intense and tempers flared. There was no water to cast a reflection of the narcissistic here, just a green canopy of perfumed leaves. The silkworms were spinning their cocoons under her bed, the poetry hidden in her pillow. Words echoed down her mind as if stirred in pots and pans over fire, her skin reddened by shouting and slapping, cooled in the canopy of calm fruit. Mulberry, that purple fruit with leaves, serrated on the margin.
I'll read the first poem in my book, Half Our Country. That's it, put it on the television. Quiet Time Levitation. I live in a welter of fever, alcohol and herbs. The antibiotics refuse to kick in. At her place, a Tuscany garden, but across the lane that air conditioner keeps on humming. At my place, the speed merchants think they're still in Port Phillip prison, clatter down the stairs with attitude. Not much peace, except at meal times. Her music or mine? She takes out her contacts in the bathroom whilst I try to heal my teeth. She locks the cat inside. It roams the hall like an out-of-work actor with glass green eyes. Domestic business, like the contents of her handbag, is complicated. I sweat some more in the bedroom. Sometimes she's the hammer and I'm the anvil. Wax earplugs punch out the party animals, but not my snoring. Some mornings we're both so tired we stumble round toothpaste owls wrapped in towels in between radio programs. But then we make our bowls of coffee and float off into the half hour of quiet time levitation.
He knows each secret that manifests each scar that wants to be discovered. He feels each breath that cannot breathe because its will is smothered, and every word that dances, although it is beautiful, bold, takes chances. It is frail and incompetent. He knows I know I'm a fraud, ashamed of being human, ashamed of being bored, but perfection nonetheless. A tiny fragment of universe beneath my evening dress. And he loves the truth between the lies. He hugs the child inside the thighs, the shapely thighs caught in the web of womanhood. And he says, let us write words in the sand because we can, because we have hands. Let us sculpt each other and discover skin. Our bodies will know when it's time to begin. Let us swirl in kaleidoscopic quilted dreams. Let's get and jump into fast flowing streams. Let's get carried away so we can save each other, pull each other from the flood. May we see the child wet and vulnerable, unafraid of mud, once more boundless in the face of death. Thanks.